This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone. Pilot show of your series. Earl Holliman, James Gregory, starring in Where Is Everybody? So, gentlemen, please sit back and take your first trip into the Twilight Zone.
Buck, I wonder if you could do me a favor. It's the craziest thing, but I've looked and I haven't seen anybody around. Maybe they're all asleep or something, but... Well, literally, there hasn't been a soul.
Man was confined alone in a box for something in the neighborhood of 484 hours. That's roughly equivalent to a trip to the moon, several orbits, and return.
In just a moment, Lou Bookman will have to concern himself with survival. Because as of 3 o'clock this hot July afternoon, he'll be stalked by Mr. Death.
Yes, it's quite a pitch. Very effective. It's the best I've ever done. It's a kind of a pitch I always wanted to make. A big one. A pitch so big that the sky would open up.
Pitch for the angels.
That's right, a pitch for the angels.
Think of all the poor souls who go in violent accidents. These are the non-precognition victims. We're not permitted to forewarn them. You, Mr. Bookman, fall into the category of natural causes.
Portrait of a town drunk named Al Denton. This is a man who's begun his dying early. A long, agonizing route through a maze of bottles.
Hey, Denton! 3 choruses of How Dry I Am. Let's hear it.
Here you are, Al.
No, thanks. I've had enough. I think I'll go out and get a shave.
And don't call me Rummy anymore.
Picture of a woman looking at a picture. Movie great of another time. Once brilliant star in a firmament no longer a part of the sky. Barbara Jean Trenton, struck down by hit-and-run years.
As of this moment, right now, Danny, these are the 1930s again, with all the charm and romance, all the gaiety. That was a carefree world, Danny.
So it's 11 in the morning, and the sun is out. That's a beautiful day in Beverly Hills. There's no smog, it's 84 degrees, and it is lovely.
This is not just a Sunday drive for Martin Sloan. He perhaps doesn't know it at the time, but it's an exodus. Somewhere up the road, he's looking for sanity. And somewhere up the road, he'll find something else.
I don't suppose you still make those great chocolate sodas, do you? 3 scoops? One thing I always remember ordering was a chocolate soda with 3 scoops. And it was only a dime.
Who is it, Robert? Who is it? What do you want, young man?
Mom, don't you know me?
Witness Mr. Walter Bedecker, age 44. Afraid of the following: death, disease, other people, germs, draft, and everything else. He has one interest in life, and that's Walter Bedecker.
Oh, what a miserable thing to contemplate. I
handful of years and then an eternity down under the ground in a casket in the cold, cold ground.
With worms yet?
Yes, of course, with worms.
Who are you? Cadwallader's my name. At least it's the name I'm using this month. Has a nice feeling on the tongue. Cadwallader.
For the record, let it be known that James A. Corey is a convicted criminal placed in solitary confinement. Confinement in this case stretches as far as the eye can see.
Corey, she's a robot.
She's a woman. She's gentle and kind. Allenby, she kept me alive. Why, if it wasn't for her, I'd have been finished. I'd have given up.
I'm sorry, Corey. If we delay our time of departure any longer than 15 minutes, it just places us in a different orbital position. We never make it back to Earth.
Witness Mr. Henry Bemis, a charter member in the Fraternity of Dreamers. A bookish little man whose passion is the printed page.
Books! Books! All the books I'll need. All the books. All the books I'll ever want. Shelley, Shakespeare, Shaw. All the books I want.
You will henceforth devote your time to your job and forget reading, or you'll find yourself outdoors on a park bench reading from morning till night for want of having a job. Do I make myself perfectly clear?
12 o'clock noon. An ordinary scene, an ordinary city. Lunchtime for thousands of ordinary people. To most of them, this hour will be a rest, a pleasant break in the day's routine. To most, but not all.
When I was 15, I developed a rheumatic heart. They said I'd never really get well, that I'd have to take it easy. No strenuous exercise, no long walks, no stairs, no shocks. Avoid any kind of shock, they said.
Mr. Hall, now you really think running away will do you any good? Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes running away is the best answer. But I don't know that yours is that sort of problem.
Yes, the Queen of Glasgow is a frightened ship, and she carries with her a premonition of death.
There's very little that I can tell you, as I don't remember anything. I don't really know how I got on this ship. I don't recall anything about it.
Perhaps there's a special kind of hell for people like us. Perhaps to be damned is to have a fate like the people on that ship. To suffer as they suffer, and to die as they die.
Her name, X-20. Her type, an experimental interceptor. Recent history, a crash landing in the Mojave Desert. Incidental data, the ship with the men who flew her disappeared from the radar screen for 24 hours.
That ship took a crew of 3. And we were the 3. And there were 3 of us when they brought us back here to the hospital after picking us up in the desert. You and me and Harrington. Harrington and I were just scratched. You were the one with the busted leg.
Maybe we shouldn't have come back from that flight at all. Maybe somebody, something made a mistake and let us get through and we shouldn't have.
You're looking at Mr. Fred Renard, who carries on his shoulder a chip the size of a national debt. This is a sour man, a friendless man, a lonely man, a grasping, compulsive, nervous man.
You can see ahead, can't you? You can look into the future. You dummy. You poor dummy. You got $1 million talent in you. You dribble it away on nickels and dimes.
I'll tell you what you need. Yes, I think I know what it is you need.
What is it?
Cleaning fluid. Oh, very good cleaning fluid. Guaranteed to remove spots of any and all kinds. Mr. Archie Hammer, jack of all trades, has just checked in at 380 a night with 2 bags, some newspaper clippings, a most odd talent, and a master plan to destroy some lives.
Did somebody fish me out before I'd had it? Is that the question? No, Mr. Pennell. That's not the way it happened at all. I'm a ghost.
Johnny, are you a ghost?
Sure, a ghost. I just came down to check the mourners, read the obituaries. How'd they feel about the deceased, huh? What kind of tears? And underneath it all, behind the eyes of the men, hanging invisible over the summer night, for this is the stillness before storm. This is the eve of the end.
People are afraid because they make themselves afraid. They're afraid because they subvert every great thing ever discovered, every fine idea ever thought, every marvelous invention ever conceived.
It's coming, boy. It's really coming, and a big one, too. While we're talking here, I bet the military's getting all set. Got it all mapped out, I bet. Talk is 48 hours. Wait and see if I'm not right.
She is the first manned aircraft into space. And this is the countdown. The last 5 seconds before man shot an arrow into the air.
3, 2, 1, 0,
Colonel Donlin, it's hot, see? It's very hot. And it makes it hard to think. So if you're going to expend all that energy, you use it to figure a way out of here, a way back, a way to let them know where we are.
Colonel R.G. Donlin commanding. We have crash-landed on what appears to be an uncharted asteroid. Cause of malfunction and ultimate crash, unknown. Her name is Nan Adams. She's 27 years old. Her occupation, buyer at a New York department store. At present on vacation, driving cross-country to Los Angeles, California from Manhattan.
No, nothing's wrong. I was just looking at that hitchhiker.
What hitchhiker?
He's gone now. Guess he got picked up.
I believe you're going my way.
Mr. and Mrs. Franklin Gibbs. 3 days and 2 nights, all expenses paid, at a Las Vegas hotel. Won by virtue of Mrs. Gibbs's knack with a phrase. But unbeknownst to either Mr. or Mrs. Gibbs is the fact that there's a prize in their package neither expected nor bargained for.
We'll put this in our room and we'll take it home with us.
Of course, dear.
Yes, but not these baboons around here. They'd throw it away. They'd compulsively put it back in the machine. But not the Gibbs. The Gibbs know the value of money.
Franklin.
What time is it, Flora?
It's 8 o'clock in the morning, Franklin.
Lieutenant Decker will soon discover that a man can be lost not only in terms of maps and miles, but also in time. And time in this case can be measured in eternities.
Sir, I swear to you, when I took off this morning, it was March the 5th, 1917. Mac and I were going on Captain Mackay.
Mackay?
Yes.
Sir, I'd swear the man was genuinely shocked when he heard Mackay was coming here. If he'd meant to do the man any harm, he'd have worn his gun. He wouldn't have left it in his plane.
Infantry Platoon, U.S. Army, Philippine Islands, 1945. These are the faces of the young men who fight.
You're a perceptive man, Phil. It's the mark of a good officer, isn't it? To ward off trouble by anticipating.
Well, Fitz, we've lost 4 men before. We've lost 8 and 10. You seem to be taking this a little harder than usual. I just wondered if there was something special.
The time is the day after tomorrow. The place, a far corner of the universe. The cast of characters, 3 men lost amongst the stars. 3 men sharing the common urgency of all men lost. They're looking for home.
Most of the Earth's surface was destroyed, and it's taken us 200 years to pick up the pieces.
You're most welcome. My name's Wickwire. Jeremy Wickwire. Oh, come, gentlemen, there's nothing to be afraid of. Truly there isn't.
Obscure metaphysical explanation to cover a phenomena. Reasons dredged out of the shadows to explain away that which cannot be explained. Whatever it is, you find it in the Twilight Zone.
Maybe I can help. Incidentally, my name is Grinstead. Paul Grinstead. I'm from Binghamton.
Are you all right, miss? Why don't I look all right? You look fine. You look just fine. It's just that when you were in here before...
Maple Street, USA. Late summer. A tree-lined little world of front porch gliders, barbecues, the laughter of children, and the bell of an ice cream vendor.
Doesn't make sense. Why should the power go off all of a sudden and the phone line?
Now, that don't seem likely. The sky's just as blue as anything. Not a cloud, no lightning, no thunder, no nothing. How could it be a storm?
You're looking at a tableau of reality. Things of substance, of physical material. A desk, a window, a light. These things exist and have dimension.
I don't know who you think I am, but you're wrong. You're wrong. My name is Curtis, Arthur Curtis, and I haven't the slightest idea what you're talking about. Now, I'm going to drive to my home in Woodland Hills, and when we get there, you can have your car back. Do you understand?
All right, we'll try it again, shall we, Jerry? We'll pick it up from the phone call. You're phoning your wife to tell her to meet you downtown at 3:15, right?
You're looking at Act 1, Scene 1 of a nightmare. One not restricted to witching hours and dark rain-swept nights. Professor Walter Jameson, popular beyond words, who talks of the past as if it were the present.
An ugly, sullen, unbelievably brutal man named William Tecumseh Sherman. To give you a more comprehensive idea of this great hero, let me read you a few extracts from the diary of Major Skelton.
Walter, you and I have been very close for 12 years. Tell me the truth. You are that man in the photograph, aren't you?
Looking at a species of flimsy little two-legged animal with extremely small heads, whose name is Man. Warren Markison, age 35. Samuel A. Conrad, age 31.
Markison, you were right! You were right. People are alike. People are alike everywhere.
How do you know my language?
We don't, Mr. Conrad. As you'll no doubt soon realize, you are speaking our language. But you must be tired. We'll prepare a place for you to rest.
Commonplace, if somewhat grim, unsocial event known as a necktie party. The guest of dishonor, a cowboy named Joe Caswell. just a moment away from a rope, a short dance several feet off the ground, and then the dark eternity of all evil men.
You get in this machine of yours and you go back to where I was, and you talk about your law and your order and your justice. They're gonna sound different. Mister, I know your kind.
Try to relax. You're going to be all right. I'll explain to you what's happened. You're a long way from home, old friend. A very long way. You're in New York City, 80 years from the last moment of your recollection.
In this corner of the universe, a prizefighter named Boldy Jackson, 183 pounds and an hour and a half away from a comeback at St. Nick's Arena.
You know, a fighter don't need a scrapbook, Henry. And you want to know what he's done, where he's fought? You read it in his face. He's got the whole story cut into his flesh.
Wasn't enough spotting him all those years, Boldy. It wasn't enough, huh? You gotta go in the ring with 4 busted knuckles.
Portrait of a man at work. The only work he's ever done. The only work he knows. His name is Henry Francis Valentine, but he calls himself Rocky, because that's the way his life has been.
Then I must be dead. If I'm dead, then all of this, the joint, the clothes, the booze, then I must be in heaven. Yeah, that's it. That's it, I'm in heaven.
You had a slight accident. Oh, but don't worry, you'll be as fit as a new fiddle soon. Now, I'm sure you'd like to change out of those rumpled clothes, eh, Miss Valentine?
Miss Helen Foley, who has lived in night and who will wake up to morning. Miss Helen Foley, who took a dark spot from the tapestry of her life and rubbed it clean.
Well, I'm kind of an expert on children. Quiet ones, noisy ones, all kinds. I teach school.
Well, I was just passing through town on business, and someone pointed you out to me, and I wanted to stop and just say hello.
This is Gart Williams, age 38. A man protected by a suit of armor, all held together by one bolt. Just a moment ago, someone removed the bolt, and Mr. Williams' protection fell away from him and left him a naked target.
They were all very solicitous, all the boys at the meeting. That free-flowing compassion that is actually relief. I'm the victim, not them. They've mistaken an intake of breath for an outpouring of sympathy.
That account represented a gross billing of something in the neighborhood of $3 million a year. And how many times have you promised it to me?
Mr. Roger Shackelforth, age youthful 20s. Occupation, being in love. Not just in love, but madly, passionately, illogically, miserably, all-consumingly in love.
Party. I thought we ought to have a party. After all, it isn't everybody that's been married 6 months like this.
Well, your time's up. Thank you very much for the flowers and the champagne. Now, goodbye, Roger.
Joey Crown, musician with an odd, intense face, whose life is a quest for impossible things, like flowers in concrete, or like trying to pluck a note of music out of the air and put it under glass to treasure.
I'm Gabriel with a golden horn. And when I put it to my lips, it comes out jewels. Comes out a symphony. Comes out the smell of fresh flowers in summer.
For old times when you had it. A magic horn. Harry James and Max Kaminsky and Butterfield. A little bit of all of them, baby. You traded it off for some bad hooch and you got took. You got the crummy end of the stick. Why, Joey? Why?
In the parlance of the 20th century, this is an oddball. His name is James B.W. Bevis, and his taste leaned toward stuffed animals, zither music, professional football, Charles Dickens, moose heads, carnivals, dogs, children, and young ladies.
Look, Mr. Hampstead, I don't like to appear ungracious, but, well, the things I like, the things I believe in, I know they're odd, but they are worth considerably more than $10 a week.
The name, for purposes of identification, is J. Hardy Hempstead. I'm your guardian angel.
Miss Marcia White on the 9th floor. Specialties department, looking for a gold thimble. The odds are that you'll find it. But there are even better odds that you'll find something else. Because this isn't just a department store. This happens to be the Twilight Zone.
Of course, I'm sorry. I forgot. When you're on the outside, everything seems so normal, as if we were like the others, like the outsiders, like the real people.
A gold thimble. I think we have something you'd like. This way, please. How about this? It's 14-karat gold and quite distinctive looking, I think. Don't you?
Once upon a time in Hoboken, New Jersey, it was tryout day. And though he's not yet on the field, you're about to meet a most unusual fella. A left-handed pitcher named Casey.
The thing is, Mr. McGarry, I just couldn't strike those poor fellas out. I didn't have it in me to do that, to hurt their feelings. I felt compassion.
Oh, no, I'm not the pitcher. I'm Dr. Stillman. Though, of course, I have thrown baseballs in my time. That was before the war.
The home of Mr. Gregory West, one of America's most noted playwrights. The office of Mr. Gregory West. Mr. Gregory West, shy, quiet, and at the moment, very happy.
You know, sometimes I've told you that fictional characters come alive. They come alive so vividly that they make decisions of their own. A playwright may have worked out some kind of move for them, but they refuse to do it.
Gregory.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't by any chance have a secret door in here, would you?
In the Twilight Zone, there'll be a variety of stories. And this is a variety that covers not only story type, but time, locale, the nature of the people.